All right, so I believe we are live now. Woo! Hopefully,
Woo! Hello,
thing is working.
everybody.
Wow, the lower third is not above you. Now it is. Hooray! Anyways, we have a whole bunch of cool stuff, including a one entire full unit of a bucket worth of E3 conference announcements. We have R9 300 series release info stuff.
We also have the R9 Fury series release info stuff. We have no performance benchmarks for you guys yet. The performance embargo for Fury is lifting. Not yet. I think it's under embargo when the embargo is up, or maybe it isn't. I don't know. I guess you'll have to watch the show to find out, or you could just Google it. I guess that's fine too. Also, there's going to be a $150 Xbox controller. What could justify a controller that's worth half as much as the console itself? I guess we'll find out. And that's assuming that you think an Xbox is worth what they charge for it. Are you rolling the intro?
Yes.
Man, I got no idea what's going on. Oh, I'm in a pretty narrow sliver there. I gotta try not to lean out of my window.
Yeah. All right, thank you to lynda.com, FreshBooks, and Squarespace.
Woo! Squarespace!
I like how the scene you're on says no guest, because it's actually finally accurate, because, get it? You're long distance, but you're not a guest. Anyways,
Right.
That was terrible.
Right, I am not a guest. You're right, you did very well.
Thank you.
I'm waiting until the intro ends so I can figure out where I should be
You're
positioning
fine.
my head.
You're good. You're right in the right spot right now. Maybe if you lean back slightly.
Lean back
Fine.
slightly and a
I'm
little
probably
harder.
more improperly. I'm probably worse positioned than you are right now, so no big deal. Have you read into any of the E3 news? Do you know
Yeah.
any of the game announcements? Okay, cool.
Yeah, a little bit. One of the ones that looks really cool to me, and I want to preface this with that E3 announcements are complete horseshit, and we shouldn't really care at all about
Okay.
anything that they said.
Yeah.
But South Park, The Fractured But Whole, I really want to be excited about, but I think is probably going to be garbage.
Because dev by Ubi?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You know, I got a lot of friends who work at Ubisoft. No, I don't. That's why.
One.
I mean,
One
I
friend.
don't. It always kind of. It's like, how do I put this? It's like if I came up with the concept of us having like a great YouTube video, and I have you make it, and it's really good, and then I'm like, wow, that was so successful. Let's make another YouTube video. I'm gonna have someone else do it. Where does this logic come from? Like, I get it. Game studios are busy or whatever, or maybe they are charging too much this time. But like, come on, Parker and Stone, you guys can afford it. Figure it out.
Yeah, because South Park was received really well with Stick of Truth.
It was. There were some development pitfalls. Like it was not a smooth development process. But did you play the game?
No, but it's always been there like I should probably play this and I will play it eventually kind of thing.
Okay, it is. Wow. Okay, aside from ones that I buy for benchmarking, which, as you know, I can't play because the save games will overwrite because games are ridiculous now. That is, wow. I don't know. It's been years. I paid $59.99 US for that game.
Whoa.
I paid full price.
Whoa.
And I waited and waited, and they didn't drop the price, and the reviews were great, and Ed told me it was great, and I was like, come on, drop the price, and they didn't, and I bought it. I paid full price, and it was worth every penny. I really enjoyed the game. So
That's
I
good
want
to
to.
hear.
I'm doing it. I'm doing that. Like, well, I played the last one and it was great. I really want to play the next one. I'm doing it, but I'm not going to pre-order it, and I'm going to wait for the
I
reviews.
think that's fine. If you're like, oh, I'm excited, I want to play the next one, but I'm going to wait till it's out, I think that's completely fine. Because I'm super stoked to play Fallout 4,
Right.
but I haven't pre-ordered it.
That's right, because Bethesda has let you down.
They
recently.
have. They were my golden ticket. Every time they released anything, it was fine. And then it was like, Elder Scrolls Online, no! I hate you now. We're done.
Luke. It was a personal insult to you.
It was. It was. I was so
I also, the Doom trailer looks like, it looks, it looks like cartoony level of, horrible gore, actual just like stupid fun,
Yeah,
like kind of painkillery.
yeah.
So I'm really liking the Doom trailer, but I mean, when's the last time it did anything worthwhile? So, I don't want to be a total jackass about it, but again, I'll be waiting for positive reviews.
Yeah.
And then Rise of the Tomb Raider. Oh man, I might even pre-order it because okay, hold on. Can I sort of okay, I'm not saying to pre-order the Xbox version because it's not coming to PC until some indeterminate amount
Okay,
of
so you'll
time.
kind of know what the game is all about because you'll see the Xbox version first.
But Crystal Dynamics did a really good job of the PC port of Tomb Raider 2013. I
Yeah,
loved that game. I
yeah.
really enjoyed it. That, but more of it, please, would be great. And as long as they don't completely mess it up, then I'm in for Tomb Raider.
I heard there's more tomb raiding this time.
Yeah, that would be good because there were
Yeah,
what, like four optional tombs. Maybe I'm getting
yeah,
different.
yeah. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was not even a very big part of the game. In other interesting thing, Elder Scrolls Legends. Look, I don't think that's gonna do much personally. Just I would love to think it was gonna do great, but just with the crushing force that is Hearthstone, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Hearthstone was like that's what Blizzard does is they just kind of do something completely stupid that makes no sense. Like, yeah, we're gonna throw all our weight behind an MMO at a time when MMOs were like really nerdy
Yeah,
and they like took it mainstream.
yeah.
And now it's like, yeah, we're gonna take a card game, which is already inherently nerdy, and we are gonna nerd the crap out of it by making it a digital card game. And we are gonna wreck everything.
And make it
Um,
mainstream.
just because Blizzard does it doesn't mean that anyone else can do it, I think is words to live by.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of Blizzard, StarCraft II Legacy of the Void, I am not particularly excited about finally getting. So they're actually doing a mini series in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
between Heart of the Swarm
A
and Legacy
bridging
of the
thing.
Void. So it's called Whispers of Oblivion. And I haven't actually played any of the StarCraft 2 campaign yet, embarrassingly enough. I actually only even own Wings of Liberty. So
Right.
as much as I'm like way late on this, once they've released the whole thing, I'm gonna just binge play it.
Nice.
Because I know I'm one of those disgusting people who legitimately enjoys RTS
No,
storylines.
I do too. I've bought multiple RTS games with zero intention of playing the multiplayer. And thinking back on like Red Alert 2, even Red Alert 1, like I enjoyed the single player. I liked playing
Supreme
the single player.
Commander was a great example of a terrible single player campaign implementation because basically it was just like an AI in a spot
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
limited tech tree. Like there wasn't even a lot of scripted elements and stuff. So it was just kind of bad. It was an afterthought, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So whatever, screw you guys.
I like RTS single player games. I really do. What else is on here that's interesting? Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I've lost all faith in that series.
Have you? Come on, because they've done bad ones before.
Yeah, but I'm
Come
like
on.
relatively far behind now
I guess
because
so.
I haven't played. I did not play. Well, I can't even remember the name of it. Unity. I didn't play Unity. I didn't play Rogue. Was it called? And then now Syndicate's coming out, and I know almost nothing about it. I should try to catch up. I was waiting for Unity for patches to come out for it to like fix itself.
Right.
I shouldn't say itself for developers at Ubi to fix it. Um, Maybe it is now. I don't know. I'll try it again sometime soon. I guess I don't really have a ton of time to play games these days.
I finally bought CS:GO. It was on sale.
It's always on sale.
Well, whatever. It was on sale and I saw it. So I want to play sometime.
Wait like a month or two, and then yeah, sure.
And then yeah,
Because
sure.
right after a big sale, especially one that CS:GO is on, but like any time CS:GO goes on sale at all, there's this like huge wave of hackers.
Oh,
Yeah. So
cool.
just kind of like chill for a sec, and then sure.
Well, alrighty
I
then.
wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
Okay. Well, I think
Firewatch looks super cool, and then there's the No Man's Sky conundrum. I'm also super excited for XCOM 2. I really liked XCOM 1. I played the crap out of that game. So I'm really happy that's coming out. Hopefully XCOM 2 doesn't have a game-breaking glitch halfway through the very last mission of the game when I'm like 32 hours into my campaign. That would be really nice. Firewatch looks super cool. I'm worried about it for multiple reasons. Basically, it's a wilderness exploration game, essentially, and it's an indie game. So those two things together scare me a lot.
So, like, basically, it's a massive expanse of emptiness because they can't afford to dev the assets and environments.
No, we're not talking about No Man's Sky right now.
Oh, okay.
Wrecked.
Wrecked. Ow.
Oh, wrecked.
You're merciless today. You even asked me what my highlights are, and then you've just been crapping on everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this isn't in the doc, the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh,
which
wow.
I'm totally pissed off about.
Because you want 6, right?
Yeah, because why does 7 get all of this attention? Why does everyone just have this massive erection for Final Fantasy VII? It is not the best game. I would argue that 6, well, no, not I would argue. 6 is objectively superior. I would argue that 5 is superior. And I could even make arguments for 9, although I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me.
Okay.
But I've got people asking where I am. Guys, I'm at Google headquarters right now. I came down for a YouTube Creator Day, and I was actually a panelist, which was really exciting for me because it was only 2.5 years ago that I was attending a similar event in Vancouver as just someone in the crowd and watching the other panelists talking. So it was actually like super, like I had goosebumps and stuff. Really exciting for me to be a part of that. It's really funny during the panel. I'll get back to Final Fantasy VII. I'm not done with that. Yeah. But during the panel, Vessel actually came up.
No.
And yeah, I kind of had to look over at the YouTube guys. I was like, so, well, gee, it's funny you ask about that. Actually, it's been great. It hasn't impacted our YouTube views. It's been purely incremental audience building and engagement and interaction. Yeah, I'm liking it. And you know what? The YouTube guys are really cool about it and respectful of sort of, what YouTubers are doing to build their business. And they've really started taking my feedback directly about how we can work together for me to not need other video platforms as much.
They actually talk to us at all.
Yeah, no, it's super, super cool. Okay. No, never mind. Nick is wrecking me right now. He's like, well, actually, Final Fantasy VII is in the doc. It's in rapid fire. It was broken out into its own topic because it is more than just a visual update, which is something that they have done before. So it is an actual remake as opposed to just replacing graphical assets. So
that always worries me, actually.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to change how the game works?
Yeah, gameplay will be receiving an update, not just the visuals. So they're also bringing an HD port version of the original game to the PlayStation 4. Anyway, back to Final Fantasy VII not being the best Final Fantasy. I know I've covered this on the show before, but I will cover it as many times as it takes until everyone goes and plays Final Fantasy VI for its superior storytelling and characters, because nothing happens in Final Fantasy VII. That stupid... Have you guys ever seen the Guitar Hero episode of South Park? Have you seen it, Luke?
No.
Okay, well, basically, Stan becomes a Guitar Hero rock star by playing the game really well. And he, the stress of the fame of being a Guitar Hero leads him to try another game called Heroin Hero, where he just runs around after a dragon in the forest shooting up heroin. To me, that's Final Fantasy VII. You just run around and you chase the dragon the whole time, and then finally you find the dragon. It turns out he's not a dragon. He's like an otherworldly being or some crap. And it's not like that's the first time they've done that. In fact, spoiler alert, because Final Fantasy VI is a game that's worth playing, unlike the other one. Spoiler alert, that happens with one of the antagonists in Final Fantasy VI too, and it's kind of a common theme for Final Fantasy, but it just is, yeah, dumb.
That's kind of funny. The only Final Fantasy, people are going to stab me after I say this, but the only Final Fantasy I've ever played is, I think, 8 and like 13 or something, and I played like half an hour of 13 and was like, I don't like this, and I loved 8, and then everyone hates 8, so it's like, okay, whatever. I should probably go back and play 6 and 7 so I can join this conversation.
Yeah, I didn't like 8 much. I'm trying to remember which one 13 is. I don't know if I played that one. Which one's the one with Tidus?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I'm showing my old schoolness right now. Yeah, it's not 13. Maybe that's 10. I think that's 10. I played 10. Really enjoyed 10. Anyway,
people in chat are saying that 8 was good, so that's cool.
Yeah, some people really enjoyed 8. I didn't like the combat system, but you know what? I only gave it about 20 minutes. So I was probably pretty unfair. I was pretty unfair to 8. I borrowed 8 from a friend.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I was either going to binge play the whole thing, or I was going to have to like give it back in the middle for him to finish it or something. Like I only had it for a bit, so I was like, do I like this? Not that much.
Not enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you needed the discs for that game. There was like 6 of them or something. It was like, oh, new chapter, swap the disc out. Oh, old school gaming, the best.
Oh, you know.
I sat down to play a game the other day, and my girlfriend was like, do computer games still, like, do you have to have the disc in? And I went and showed her like my Steam library and like how it works, and I'm like, I can play any one of these like 400 games right now. I don't even need to put the disc in. It was awesome.
Did that impress her? Did you impress her with your gigantic Steam library?
With my extremely long and girthy list of games. Yeah.
Oh, wow, the Twitch chat's freaking out. They didn't know you had a girlfriend. Apparently this was the reveal.
What? I've said it on the WAN show before. They freak out every time.
Oh. All right. Never mind then. All right.
The Twitch chat just does things.
Yeah, the Twitch chat is the Twitch chat. We love you guys.
The Twitch chat always collectively knows and doesn't know everything.
So let's move on to our next topic. That last one was posted by Mech777, and I never did this. I meant to do this. I'm copying the link URL right now. So that's PC Gamer's roundup of a lot of the stuff that we were saying we were not excited about, depending on whether it was me or Luke talking. And then, and for our next one, for our next trick, we've got South Korea. And this original article here is from KoreaHerald.com announcing Giga LTE, the world's fastest LTE connection. And what's really cool about this is a couple of things. So number one, it combines LTE with Wi-Fi connections. It offers a maximum download speed of 1.17 gigabit per second, 15 times faster than existing LTE and 4 times faster than tri-band LTE advanced. Like, this is some bananas crap here.
So cool.
10 times faster upload speed than tri-band broadcast LTE advanced. But the really, really cool thing about this to me is the fact that the S4 and, the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge are already compatible, with Samsung launching, I think they said 5 to 6 more mid to high-end phones before the end of the year. Along with some LG Electronics handsets that will be compatible with this technology. People on the planet before the end of the year will be using gigabit connections on their phones.
That's ridiculous.
What the hell, Canada?
Yeah, we're doing a little rough. Did I ever show you my data usage from the Computex trip?
No.
It was an unlimited H+ SIM. So by the end of the trip, I think I was at like 16 gigabytes used.
Sick. And how much did you pay for that?
$25.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Just ridiculous. And like Brandon and I kind of realized partway through, because when you're in the States and you have your Verizon SIM and it's unlimited data, but only the first whatever is actually LTE.
Yeah, and we have an interesting news topic about that later, you guys, by the way. Throttling unlimited plans. Go ahead, though.
Cool. But on that one, you can't tether. So partway through, I was like, "Oh, wonder if it'll work." And I just tethered to my laptop, and it works. I was like, "Oh yes!" And then that day, the data spike is just massive.
Nice.
It's like, this is so great. Someone sent me a picture of his usage of like 500 and something gigabytes in 1 month on his data connection.
Wow.
Because he has an unlimited plan. I'm assuming he connects it to his computer and like does all the things, but still, ridiculous.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, to be able to do that is something that we can only dream of here. Here's an interesting thing. I just sent you a link in our chat here. If you want to go ahead and fire that up, zoom in on the Lower Mainland.
I can't. Can you send it in Hangouts?
Oh, yes, I can. In fact, I already did. You didn't see it in Hangouts, so that was why I tried elsewhere.
Lol. Okay.
Bring that up because here's what I want to know. It's a map of cellular tower locations in Canada, and you can actually sort it by the big three carriers up here. And what I observed about the Lower Mainland in particular is that while Rogers and TELUS have tons and tons of towers, like it's absolutely bananas how many towers they have. Bell has very few, and yet their reception here is really good. Like, have you noticed that?
I haven't noticed it being worse than TELUS.
So if they just have, like, a few awesome towers, then why can't I have gigabit connections?
Yeah, really.
That's what I want to know. Come on, Bell. It's only, like, 15 towers. Make it happen.
Like, for people watching, look at the difference between, say, Rogers or even TELUS. Man, TELUS's coverage of Alberta is just nuts.
You can really tell where they're focusing their business in on by looking at this kind of a map. Like, Bell in the east is supremely bananas, and then in Saskatchewan it's just a black hole. And then TELUS, I mean, that makes a ton of sense because they used to be BC Tel. Then when they expanded to Alberta, they became TELUS. So they're almost entirely Western focused.
That makes sense. And then Bell's like trying to capture the territories up north, which is actually rather interesting because it doesn't look like Rogers or TELUS are up there.
Very cool stuff, though. Hey, I had actually just stumbled across this because I was trying to figure out why, and this is kind of related, why our Bell reception at the new office is not very good. And it turns out there's a tower like right nearby, so I'm not sure what the deal is. It could just be the concrete building and the metal roof, and that's just life.
I think it's the building because there's pretty okay reception just outside the door, and then you walk in and you're screwed.
It's okay, though. We have a plan. It's not cheap, like everything about this freaking new office, but we are getting a booster that will make it so we've got an antenna outside on the roof, and then we'll have a booster for the inside. We'll actually have 3 antennas internally.
There you go.
So that's the plan. Anyway,
awesome.
Good on South Korea for caring about super fast mobile internet and stuff. Moving on to our next topic here. This was posted by Mage Tank. I'm going to go ahead and copy... Mage Tank. That sounds
most
awesome.
Overpowered class that ever existed.
The Mage Tank.
Yeah.
I would love for like the Linus Tech Tips game to have a Mage Tank class.
It should.
And you just kind of automatically win. Like only one person per team gets to be Mage Tank, so there'll always be only like 2 on the board, but that could actually be kind of cool, having like a completely OP but limited in terms of how many people can play at class.
So you have to like the rest of your team kind of has to protect the Mage Tank, even though
Yeah.
it's a tank.
Yeah.
Because you want it to survive because it's also a mage.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, and the Mage Tank should basically be able to kind of roll anyone other than the other Mage Tank. I'm sure someone's done this. Anyway, the Broadwell Core i7 5775C has gaming performance on par with Haswell. And the original article here is from Maximum PC. They've got a whole bunch of really good information about it. More importantly than almost anything else is the information that Broadwell Desktop was super duper late. It's late. It's a refresh at a smaller process node of an existing Haswell architecture, processor series. So performance improvements are, we got something small, but the frequencies are actually lower out of the box. So the performance is pretty darn near the same, except it's got way better onboard graphics. So if you're into that sort of thing, then onboard graphics performance is great. It's got a lower TDP if you're into that sort of thing, which I guess is cool. It goes from 84 watts to 65 watts. The good news is that C, which is for Crystalwell, the Intel Iris Pro graphics code name, the C does not mean it's not unlocked. So C class processors are still unlocked, just like Ks.
All right.
I have no idea why, after all the marketing Intel has done about K, why they're changing that.
That's really silly.
Maybe someone a lot smarter than me could figure that out and tell me what C means.
Maybe they're like, well, sometimes they sound the same, so it's cool, right?
Maybe it's C for clock speed increasing enhanced
clock speed awesomeness. One thing that's pretty cool is, as you can see on this chart that's on the screen right now, it shows EDRAM. There we go. I can talk. Slash L4 DRAM. Cache. So if you're using a discrete GPU, that DRAM for your graphics on your processor can be used as L4 cache.
Yes. So that is a really cool architectural enhancement, which doesn't necessarily show up in, like, you know, Broadwell crushing Haswell performance right now.
No.
But if developers kind of figure it out, and, you know, all these things always take time.
Developers.
Yeah. If developers get on board with this and kind of go, oh, hold on a second, all of a sudden there's this like weird, even faster than system memory, but not quite as fast as cache. There's this weird in between. If I can start leveraging that, super cool. Lots of potential for that to make a big difference in terms of performance. I mean, more cache is never a bad thing. With that said, I actually did a really interesting article way back in the day for Hardware Canucks, because there was one period of time where Intel actually had, I think it was either 3 or 4 processors that were exactly the same spec for spec, except for the cache level. So they had a Core 2 Duo, they had like an E4000 series, they had an E8000 series, and then they had something else. And for gaming at that time, it made no difference at all, going all the way from like a quarter as much cache to 8 times as much cache. I wish I could find the article because it was really cool.
Whoop.
But there you go. If someone finds it and posts it in Twitch chat, it might not even be there anymore. Hardware Connects cache. Like, there's gonna be, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it. That's a real shame. But
I really hope that, I don't know if this is a publicly announced thing, but you know what? Now it is. I really hope that we are able to wrangle a whole bunch of the same card because of what you just said. You mentioned same spec, and then wondering if the cache would be different.
Go ahead.
But what we want to do is check out, because in a review that's coming out soon on a Gigabyte 980 Ti that we have, a G1 Gaming 980 Ti, it's like, rated speed, boost clock, blah, I don't remember exactly what it is. And then what we actually got without touching it at all was way higher. I think like 70 megahertz higher or something. And that's happening with cards all over the place.
And that's in a hot room too. So like, I don't know how NVIDIA's testing the bloody thing.
Yeah. So what we want to do, Linus actually proposed this, and I think it's brilliant, is getting like a whole bunch of the same card, all brand new, and just take it out of the box, put it on the bench, figure out how fast it is. Okay, next one. And then just go and figure out kind of like a general range. The sample size won't be amazing with 5 or 10, but it'll still be really interesting to see.
Yeah, so we just want to see, like, if you guys are looking at like a graphics card review for a Titan X or something, and you kind of go, it beats the, Fury by, 3%, man, it's better.
Is that actually...
Yeah. What if the variance from sample to sample is like 10%? We don't even know. So we thought it would be a really interesting investigation, and we want to check it out.
Yeah. Yes. Because there's a lot of interesting things in that review to look at. Like wattage from the wall difference between me overclocking it and GPU boost overclocking it was only like 7 watts under load. Which is fairly interesting. Fairly interesting, yes.
Yeah, so right, the big elephant in the room, and the article that I linked actually did a really good job of talking about this, is that Broadwell was delayed by so much that Skylake is rumored to be showing up in August. So Broadwell's here, but Skylake is the actual architectural change, where it's going to be on the same 14 nanometer process as Broadwell, but with a new architecture, not just like amped up onboard graphics that you can use the embedded, VRAM for a level 4 cache or something. This is a new chip. So our advice, even not knowing what Skylake has in store, is kind of wait for Skylake right now. It'll support DDR4. With that said, I believe Skylake also has support for DDR3. So, it's just not looking like a good time to buy a new computer right now, is it?
Not really.
DDR4 prices are still too high, and it's not like they're going to instantly drop overnight just because Skylake shows up. So,
and, Fury stuff looks interesting enough, and 980 Ti performs pretty damn well, but then there's those, insane, I don't remember the code name for them, graphics cards just kind of on the horizon.
Yep. So let's all stay tuned, basically.
Welcome to any industry being on the bleeding edge of it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is cool, sort of. King Cry posted the original link here from the Washington Post. I'm going to drop that in the Twitch chat for you guys. There.
What's up? Oh.
I'm trying. I'm going to press the thing eventually. AT&T was hit with a $100 million fine for throttling unlimited data customers. The FCC assessed the fine on June 17th. AT&T has been accused of improperly slowing down internet speeds for customers who had signed up for unlimited data plans. It was assessed due to the lack of transparency in this action. A quote from the article here is, AT&T should have been upfront about the throttled speed since they implemented the practice back in 2011. In October of 2014, the FCC sued AT&T due to an estimated 3.5 million users having their internet service slowed to dial-up speeds on an average of 12 days a month. So we're not talking like the last couple days of the month, they throttle you back, to half speed or whatever. We're talking screwing over the data access of their customers because they had the audacity to use the unlimited plan that they paid for. It's so what if I negotiate with Luke that I'm going to help him move something, and in return he has me help him move something, and I lift one thing and I'm like, yeah, I did it enough now, so you can carry the rest by yourself. It's not Luke's fault that I offered to help him move something. That's not how this works. If AT&T has a plan that you can buy and they have a price tag on it, then you should be able to buy it.
Yep. It's pretty brutal. And, the throttle speed is insane, too. It's not like they turned it down, a little bit. They put it to 512 kilobits per second. You can't do jack with that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous.
You could browse the LinusTechTips.com forum.
Yeah, just kind of a little slowly.
As long as people are polite and put their big images in spoiler hiders.
Yeah. It's just don't go to the build log section.
Yeah, don't go there. Don't go to the memes thread.
Yeah.
Don't really do anything.
Anyways, that's brutal. They didn't even. I like how they show stops here. So they're 3.5 megabits per second speed required to stream a standard definition video, 700 kilobits per second speed required to use FaceTime, and you're below that, get wrecked.
I know. To not even be able to use FaceTime, it's we're slowing down our data strategically slow enough that you can just use a voice connection and you can eat into your plan there.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Insane. You can't call your grandparents and show them around your house. Seems to be the only thing that I know anyone uses FaceTime for.
If you guys follow me on social media at all, you've probably already seen this, but because I'm at Google headquarters, and I actually I asked them for a here, hold on a second. I'm gonna get Luke to share this video. I'm gonna link you to it, Luke, so you don't have to look for it here. Sure. But because I'm in Google headquarters, and I told them I was streaming, so they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, we can get you a landline connection." First thing I did, of course, is fired up DAT speed test, and I'm not gonna ruin the suspense. I'm gonna get Luke to play the video over there and screen share with you guys. But let me tell you, I am pretty impressed. I am loving it. I really want.
We have to listen to you.
Sorry,
oh, the sound's muted.
I can't. It's okay. All I say is, hey guys, I'm down at Google headquarters. So the first thing I did was run a speed test. So I've kind of covered that already.
Gotcha. Holy balls.
1 millisecond ping, suckers.
That's so badass.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not at Google HQ. I'm at a Google campus. Excuse me.
We should just host a Google campus out of our new office.
Yeah, I know, right?
That'd be so epic.
Oh, man, like, get wrecked everything. That is real world speed with presumably, like, people in the building working. Like,
yeah.
And doing things. And then the upload, I ran out of my 30 seconds worth of video recording before I could do the upload. But it was similar. It was like 870 megabit per second or something ridiculous like that. It's so sad.
Just the never wait for anything internet.
Exactly. And you can really feel it too. Like downloading files is just, you know how browsers will do their virus scan?
Yeah.
So you just click download and then it's like scanning for viruses. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, dog. Although our internet at the new place should be pretty darn good too. I'm excited about that. Did I tell you? Oh, this is more of just like a Linus Media Group update. I don't think Luke knows this yet. Ooh. So our install date, thanks to a miscommunication between our like fiber reseller and the backbone provider, our install date has been pushed to after we'll be moving in.
Oh.
So for the first little while, we are actually going to be on a 4G hotspot.
Wow. Provided by them or what?
Yeah, provided by...
Okay, yeah, so it's like, that's going to get real expensive real fast.
Provided by them for screwing it up, but yeah, so I was not impressed when I found out that the original, and actually, like, I don't even know what the speeds of the 4G hotspot are going to be, but originally they were like, yeah, we can get you a 6 down, 1 up ADSL line. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Okay. I'm buying 200 megabit symmetric fiber from you guys, and you think that I can get by with 6 down, 1 up? We're an online video company. Find a better solution.
Well, that hotspot's going to be ridiculous too, you know that, right?
I know, it's going to be really dumb, but it is what it is, and it'll be really nice when we upgrade. I'm even thinking we could just do like WAN show for a week from, because it's not for long, but we could do like a WAN show 1 week from my house again for old time's sake or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
There's a few more details about, hold on, I'm just going to copy the link. This was posted by Boozoo on the forum about Skylake that we should probably share with you guys. So Intel's going, so there's going to be the 6700K and 6600K and Core i7 and Core i5 varieties. So we're going back to the usual naming scheme, and we're getting a new socket. So the thing about Broadwell is you can pop it in your existing Z97 board. Not for Skylake. You're going to need a Z170 chipset, and that's going to be on the LGA 1151, I believe it is. Yeah, I think it's the LGA 1151. Chipset socket. So yet another subtle change. Intel really likes that 1150 something number. Yeah. They're going to run out because we've had 1150, 1155, 1156, 1151. Give it another sort of 6 years, and they're going to have to do something different.
They can keep 6 years. There you go. I was going to say they can keep that weird stepping that they have going. 1157, 1152.
Let me just find there's another. So hold on, a couple more Skylake things before we move on to our last bit of Intel news. Notebook versions of Skylake processors are planned for the fourth quarter of 2015, and Intel's notebook reference design for the platform includes support for USB 3.1 with Type-C ports. So that stuff is not going to be Apple exclusive for long, which is well, it's not exclusive now. I mean, there's a Chromebook, but who cares? No, no. Oh, can I say that here? Are they listening?
Oh dear. That's dangerous. Someone comes through the door. We're taking your internet. Clunk.
Yeah. You like that gigabit internet you're on right now? Yeah, you
Go
like that?
on.
You like that, bitch? Give it up now.
Correct.
So I've got our last bit of Intel news, and this is you know, I don't know what to say about this. Intel plans job cuts across the company. This was posted by Joss on the forum. Says an internal memo, and they plan to reduce R&D spending. So this is a confidential internal memo that indicates that Intel wants to keep expenses flat to match its reduced revenue outlook for 2015, citing plans it announced in April to cut its research and administration budget by $300 million this year. Doesn't say how many people will lose jobs, but said the cuts will begin June 15th, so that was 4 days ago, and conclude 1 month later. Laid off employees will receive a minimum of 2 months' pay, according to the memo, plus extended health insurance and additional payments based on their time with Intel in exchange for release of any claims against the company. No one has been notified, or no, excuse me, not no one, but if you're losing your job, there's a very good chance you haven't been notified yet. And I got to kind of look at this and go, was Intel really expecting 8% performance improvements year over year to drive CPU sales?
Yeah.
What did they expect? The mainstream is getting bigger, and Broadwell desktop is a great example of this. The mainstream is getting better graphics performance that they never asked for.
Yeah.
And the guys that are, because you can talk about how small the enthusiast segment is all day, and it is. The guys that are out there buying, 5960X Extreme Editions are few and far between. They're grains of sand in an ocean. But they are influencers. And Intel has made it hard to get excited about their CPUs for a long time now. Yeah. And influencers aren't going to be like running around telling all their buddies that their new CPU is so great and it makes their gaming experience so awesome and they need to upgrade. They're not going to be doing that if you don't keep them excited. And I hope that as part of cutting costs and the strategic things that they're doing there, I hope they're also taking a look at what makes Intel sexy. Stuff like the 750 SSD doesn't necessarily show up in a positive way on a balance sheet because there's like a handful of motherboards that can even use the stupid thing, not to mention that it's really expensive. But what it does is it gets people talking about Intel's innovation and leadership in SSD. I mean, Intel's lucky that AMD's been sitting on their ass for the last 5 years. Yeah. With that said, I think that brings us really well into another topic here that, this one I don't think is in the doc, but AMD has committed to a full meat, like CPU, not an APU, with the upcoming Zen. So if it wouldn't be the first time that Intel fell asleep at the wheel a little bit and kind of went, yeah, it's good enough. Let's focus on like making graphics better, which is important, especially, and AMD believes it's important too. Let's just be, sorry?
You want to hang us this to me?
Oh, which one?
The article.
Oh, there's a post on the forum. I actually don't have it up. I'm just going from memory.
Don't worry about it.
Just to be clear, AMD and Intel are, and Apple for that matter, all on the same page about GPU performance actually being a huge driving force for the future. I mean, Apple was showing off their Metal API at their Worldwide Developer Conference, talking about huge performance improvements in like real work, like not just, running YouTube videos on the internet or whatever, like real work, things like the Adobe suite, thanks to Metal. So I'm not saying that what Intel's doing isn't really, really important and valuable with these great GPUs built into their CPUs. I'm just saying it's not sexy. Because it's not, there's no, like, what is the upgrade itch, Like as enthusiasts, I feel like we all kind of know what we're talking about, right? Like, yeah, this hardware is like great and it's cool, but that's what Apple's so good at. They make it sexy. They make it exciting, even if the hardware isn't new and isn't exciting. And I feel like Intel's just kind of lost that a little bit over the last while. And it wouldn't be the first time that Intel was, like I said, kind of asleep at the wheel and AMD showed up out of nowhere and took a chunk of their lunch. Let's face it, AMD has never really been head to head with Intel, but they've at least been like a great number two at times, and
Right.
even for the tech savvy, the better choice at times. And I would love to see that happen again with Zen, as much because I would love to run a Zen processor as because I would love for Intel to wake up and kick some ass and Conroe us again.
Just anything exciting in the PC space right now would be super great. Everything's extremely expected all across the board, as far as I can tell. And I
Speaking of
felt that a
things,
little bit at Computex.
speaking of things that are expected, the WAN show pretty much always has sponsors.
Yay!
So we'll start with lynda.com, and I guess Luke's on changing
Boop.
frame duty. Can't see
Done.
what you're doing, so
It's done. We're good.
you're awesome. And you know
Yeah.
what else is awesome? Lynda.com. It's used by
Yeah.
millions of people around the world with more than 3,000 courses available. They've continued to develop in the time that we've been working with them, so they've continued to add more industry experts, more courses, more features. You can create playlists that you can actually go through, and you can sort of tailor your learning experience according to what it is exactly that you want to do. You can work on your own time, and they've improved being able to learn on your own time by allowing you to download courses and watch them on iOS or Android
that.
devices. Sorry, go ahead.
I love that. The ability
Yeah.
to download courses, that's super cool.
That's super awesome. It's like the good kind of DRM. It's like, yes, this is our content. You have to pay to use it, but like you can use it in a way that's convenient for you.
Yep, because
So
I've actually had a not insignificant amount of people come up to me at shows and be like, hey, I kind of hope you don't mind, but I don't watch any of your videos on any platform because I download them. Because they're like, I want to watch them at work or whatever, and I don't get cell there for whatever reason because I have X and Y type of job. And I'm like, whatever, man, that's cool.
yeah, we
So,
want you guys watching. That's the most important thing. I mean, we'd love for you to watch us on, a monetized platform if you can. But if for whatever reason you can't, we'd sure as hell rather you watch than not watch.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So plans start at only $25 a month for Lynda. Head over to lynda.com/WANshow to try it out for free for 10 days. And if anyone from Lynda's watching this, we want a longer free trial because I know there's one other place where you can actually get a longer one. So, Lynda, we want to offer our viewers a longer free trial because the service is really awesome.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Squarespace. Squarespace is what it freaking is. Actually, we've got a proposal into Squarespace for something really cool that would have us like building a site that would have some really cool functionality. Anyway,
Awesome.
I don't want to. It hasn't been accepted yet or anything like that. But we love working with those guys because they're just all about the right things. They're about making the web work better and be faster and be a smoother experience to get more people online. And whether it's creating a blog or making a store to sell their little widgets that they create in their garage, or just like getting out there and connecting with people, they make creating a website easy and affordable. At only $8 a month, you get a free domain if you sign up for a year, and you get 10% off your first purchase if you use offer code Linus over at squarespace.com. So if you don't have a website, Luke's highlighting the Squarespace Build It Beautiful thing. All right, I'll say it. Squarespace Build It Beautiful.
Yes! Yes!
You're so funny. Because I can't see Luke, but I can see his cursor in the dock. And last up today, we've got FreshBooks. It's the online tool to get your accounting done quickly. These guys love you guys, and they keep throwing these sponsor spots at us because they keep finding so many of you guys who are using FreshBooks, whether it's because you or someone you know is running your own business and you don't feel like mucking about with all that accounting crap and logging timesheets and logging receipts and then trying to remember where everything is. FreshBooks is the online tool that allows you to keep track of your hours in your business and your billing, get your customers to pay you by credit card, see when they've received the bill, and just take care of those little details so that you don't have to do that. And instead you can focus on installing showers or framing buildings or whatever it is you're doing as a contractor or as a self-employed person. So head over to freshbooks.com/WAN and enter WAN in the How Did You Hear About Us section when you sign up for your free trial. There's a free trial. I forgot about that.
Yes.
All right. What's our next topic here?
I am lost in the dock now.
Okay, it's okay. I got this. Right, Radeon R9 300 series. Speaking of exciting things that AMD is doing. So AMD did everything from completely pointless and horrible to actually looking pretty darn exciting over the last week with the launch of the R9 300 series and the R9 Fury series. So we'll start with R9 300 because we can go through this pretty quickly. It was posted by Z Mule and... yeah, so the R9, the R7 260 is now the R7 360. The HD 7850 is now the R7 370.
Hooray.
The R9 285 is now the R9 380. So at least they've acknowledged that, yeah, it is sort of lower. The R9 290X is now the R9 390X. And the 390 and 390X now come with 8 gigs of memory. Not that we haven't had 8 gig 290X cards for months now.
Also true.
And memory bandwidth was increased from 5 to 6 gigabit per second, likely just thanks to better yields on that stuff. And AMD's MSRP, and this is a big, gigantic wheelbarrow full of fail, are actually higher than the street prices for certain cards at retailers right now. So if you were thinking, hey, I'd sure love to have an R9 390X, then you should probably go to Amazon, using our code, by the way, buy a 290X, and then draw a 3 on it. Because while there were some rumors that the 390 and 390X had actually improved the GPU compared to the 290 and 290X, there's already rumor debunking stuff showing up right now. In fact,
like the driver thing you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one I'm gonna pull up right now. I'm gonna post this link. Oh, I don't actually have the I don't have the link to hard OCP, but whatever. I'll post what I have here, you guys. So it looks like it was a driver tweak, and an enterprising individual out there found a way to make the 390 launch driver run on the 290X, and the tessellation performance improvements that came with the 300 series are mirrored exactly on the 200 series once the driver... Like, why do they even bother? Why do these companies even bother? We're going to find out.
Yeah.
Like, the PC tech media, and I'm not even including myself here. Like, some of those guys are really, really smart. Like, really smart. Like, you are not...
And even if they don't grab it, like, a lot of the end users are really, really smart and will figure it out if we don't.
That's right. You know, guys like, between the professionals, you know, the guys like a Scott Lawson or Ryan Shroud or Ryan Smith, between those guys and between the really smart end users that are out there, how can you possibly expect to get to pretend that tessellation performance improved when it's a driver tweak? Yeah. So anyway, let's talk R9 Fury, because this is where things actually get quite a bit more interesting. So Big Stroons posted the original article on Linus Tech Tips here, and it's from Legit Reviews, which I have gone ahead and posted in the Twitch chat. So the performance of any card running the new Fiji GPU is still under NDA until it's released, until the R9 Fury X is released on June 24th. So to be clear, Fury X2, which is just a placeholder name for the dual GPU Fiji card that's rumored to be coming out in the fall and has been pictured, is one of them. And then we're also getting an R9 Fury X and an R9 Fury. So what can we...
Just to make the naming scheme even more confusing.
Yeah, what the hell? Why didn't they just make life... I mean, the thing that I think companies miss sometimes is, like, why something worked. It's like... Yeah. It's like if BMW released, like, a super awesome car and a bunch of people bought it, and let's say it was called, like, the X6 or something, and Nissan's like, yeah, let's call our next series the X6E for, like, evolution. And, like, it's, like, not as good of a car.
Yeah.
Copying someone else's naming scheme and product tiering structure is not going to work. It's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't work that way. The Titan wasn't successful because it was called a Titan.
They should
I
have
mean,
made it. What in mythology killed the Titans?
um,
Wasn't there a thing?
I can't remember. I actually like the throwback branding. Now, to be clear, if they were gonna have something that was like a truly, head and shoulders above everything else product, I actually don't mind them calling it like a Rage or a Fury or like an R9 Max or
Yeah.
like a throwback
When
to
it's
the
just
ATI
the
rings.
only new card.
It's just that it's the only new card, and the rumors have the performance competitive with GTX 980 Ti. So you can't. Titan was Titan because there was nothing it was competing against, not because they just called it Titan.
Yeah.
So for Fury to be a Fury and to truly be different, then it would have to compete against something that's really different. Now, you can make the argument that if Fury X is competitive with GTX 980 Ti, then it's pretty damn competitive with Titan X. But I also think Titan X is stupid. And people who bought Titan X's should feel pretty bad right now. Not because they're dumb, but because NVIDIA didn't really give them a value in the way that they did with the original Titan, which had the better double precision performance, in addition to the larger frame buffer and the fact that you got, big Kepler performance a significant amount of time before anyone else got big Kepler performance, at least not at an affordable price. Where am I going with all this? Right. Specs for R9 Fury X. Do you want to run through this? I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm sorry. When I can't see you, it's hard to see. When I can't see you, it's so easy to talk over you. I'm sorry.
I know, but it's actually been okay because I never control the screen, so I'm just so lost in Usually I have all my notes on my screen. I'm just like, all right, this is how I work, and I don't navigate websites. So I spent a lot of this time just being like, am I supposed to be scrolling right now? Or what do I do? I have no idea what's supposed to be happening.
I've been having the opposite experience. I've been like, oh, this is great. I have my webcam right above my notes. I can just look right at my notes. I don't have to remember jack.
Yeah, because usually what I'm doing is I read the chat to make sure everything's going fine and make sure the thing's stable and the audio is level and we're not screwing anything up and so I haven't been monitoring the chat. I'm scrolling through. It's weird. I don't even know where the specs are. In the scroll down a little bit. Maybe
all right,
they're right there.
I can do it if you want.
Go for it, and maybe I'll just jump in probably.
All right, so we've got 4096 stream processors running at 1050 megahertz, 64 compute units, 2565 texture units, 64 ROPS, and blah 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 blah.
I can talk about the game stuff.
Yeah, so this is cool. It's less than 20 centimeters, so just over 7.5 inches in length, which to me is kind of merits a penis extension of some sort. I'm sure someone's going to mod something like that.
Yes and no, because look at what we've been doing lately. A lot of really small computers.
Compact builds.
The most fun thing we did in the last little while was that little tiny ridiculous Silverstone case.
And you know what's
they can
really...
make those even smaller.
Yes.
If you're able to use Silverstone's 700 watt SFX or even their really insane density 600 watt, and then an ITX motherboard, and then a short ass graphics card.
And then you throw a Broadwell desktop on there, and all of a sudden you've got a 65 watt TDP on your CPU. You don't even need to liquid cool your CPU or even put a decent cooler on it. Yeah. Your GPU can have that 120 millimeter fan cooling slot that can actually take up the space where the butt end of your graphics card would have normally been. I might get my PlayStation 2 size computer at some point here with a pretty significant GPU kick.
Because if this was 2 years ago, I would have been completely on board with what you just said. I'm like, oh, it's a short card that's going to look super stupid. Because I was one of the bigger haters of the whatever that card was.
You run an 800D.
Yes.
And you're thinking of the 670, the
670, yes,
PCB,
that one. Yeah, I hated that.
The performance grade NVIDIA short class card.
That bugged me so much. But yeah, I think it would be fine now. But so many people are building smaller builds.
Yep.
Looking at my 800D now, it's just the only reason why I have that is because I haven't upgraded anything in my computer in a long time.
So AMD has way overdone the cooling. They've got a Scythe Gentle Typhoon type fan on it. It's 120 millimeter rad. The thermal limit of the GPU is apparently 75 degrees, so they want to keep it cool for some reason. Very interesting. It has a 275 watt TDP with a 500 watt capable cooler at the target. Please don't go higher than this temperature.
Yeah.
Very interesting. The R9 Fury non-X, we don't have as much detail about, so fewer cores than the X, and it does not have a reference design. We've seen NVIDIA do this kind of thing before. Oh, apparently they want Luke to turn mic volume up.
I know. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if I can.
Okay, I can turn myself down a little. I can
The
never remember.
volume dial on this thing is for my monitoring, isn't it?
There, maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, so blah 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 blah. Right, we've seen NVIDIA do this before, where every card will be a non-reference card, and quite frankly, it probably makes sense in this case since if they were doing a reference card, I'm assuming on a lower cost card like this, they would want to do a blower design, and the aftermarket guys are going to want to put open air coolers on them, and they're not going to want to sell blowers anyway, and the blower is probably not going to be that effective if the TDP is anywhere near the 290 or the Fury X. I mean, even we saw the same thing with Titan X. Like
Yeah.
that cooler design is great on a 980, not as great on a Titan X or a
Not
980.
great at all. That's why I'm highly frustrated with Zotac right now. I love those guys, but they really should have sent me the Arctic Storm Titan X, because I really want to see what you can do with like a good, not that air cooler on a Titan X.
You know what? We have two Titan X's. We could sacrifice one of them to the water block gods. Maybe just you know what? Maybe we could do like some water cooling content over the next little bit here because
Sure.
you wanted to. Oh, I can't reveal that. Okay, well, whatever. There could be some water cooling content coming.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk Fiji architecture for a little bit here.
Run away.
AMD says it took nearly 7 years to develop. They're thinking about releasing all the data needed to 3D print your own side covers for the card shroud, which is pretty neat.
That's really cool.
Encouraging modding is always something that looks good for these companies to do and costs them nothing. AMD put 9 LEDs on the back of the card that allow you to see GPU load level. It's not the first time we've seen something like this. There's 2 dip switches on the backplate that allow you to enable or disable the GPU tack and allows you to change the color of the LEDs between red and blue to match your case theme better. There's also a light that goes on if their zero-core power mode is enabled.
One thing that I really like, sorry to jump in here, is that they did the like 9 little LEDs for load level. Because one thing that's been driving me insane is multicolored RGB load level indicators on cards. It's like, what the heck? I don't want my like all red and black badass card in my all red and black badass system to randomly be like green.
Right.
No, what are you doing? This is not Christmas. I am playing games, or I am not playing games. Stop it. So I'm very happy with the little like line of LEDs idea, like how hard can you hit the hammer, make the thing go up style instead of multicolored LEDs.
Right.
Yes.
So onto more Fiji architecture stuff. This is really a little disappointing actually. The GPU does not support HDMI 2.0. It is running HDMI 1.4a. With that said, I can't really think of a no, I can think of a reason. It would be really nice for TVs with HDMI 2.0. Like if you want a game on a TV, it's going to be hard to find a DisplayPort TV. It would have been super sick if you could handle 4K 60 hertz on a TV. So that's like sort of kind of disappoint. But there's other really cool stuff. So for the, I don't know, first time in a while, I guess, AMD has really leapfrogged NVIDIA in a way that I'm sure NVIDIA is going to be playing down to the best of their ability because NVIDIA is still on GDDR and AMD has spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on HBM. So that's their high bandwidth memory technology. So what this is effectively the RAM is sitting like physically, it's actually physically smaller because they're stacking it instead of laying it out flat. And it is physically closer to the GPU for much, much higher memory bandwidth than we've seen before. With that said, memory bandwidth overclocking has typically not done a whole lot
Not much
for
lately.
me and Luke over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
but there are benefits that might not be immediately apparent. So the power consumption savings is a big one. the fact that you can now take more of your power tuning and throw it at the GPU instead of the memory, since you're limited by how much the PCI Express specification allows you to pull through a slot and the power plugs that go into it. So that's a benefit. And I mean, I guess, well, that's a big benefit. And what we can do with more memory bandwidth in the future is something that is yet to be unlocked by developers. And so more is better. One problem that AMD is downplaying hardcore right now, and I'm really not sure if I agree with, is that R9 Fury X and R9 Fury are going to launch with 4 gigs memory max. So 4 1 gig stacks next to the GPU. And with AMD sort of trumpeting the benefits of 4 gig back when they launched Hawaii with the 290X for 4K gaming, and kind of going, yep, 4 gigs is still enough, when NVIDIA has traditionally been the one to let AMD throw more memory at their cards and then kind of put the right amount of memory per GPU. To have AMD kind of going, yep, 4 gigs is enough, but we're going to work on 8 gigs later is a bit of a difficult message for me to swallow, but I understand why, whether it's yields or whether it's pure availability of chips, they aren't able to.
We've been talking about doing this for a little while now, and it's complicated, but we should do a deeper dive. How much VRAM are we using in different situations video?
NCIX Tech Tips actually did one not that long ago. And the truth of the matter is that even gaming at 4K, you are very unlikely to exceed 4 gigs of memory usage.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you can get damn close today, and there's a lot of games. Like, look at how PC E3 was. Yeah. There's a lot of games, and a lot of games like Grand Theft Auto 5 that are going to have a lot of mods that are going to ask for a lot of video memory. And if you could add super fast, and
I know people that have gotten over 4 gigs with Skyrim.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of times.
Yep. So, I mean, that was how AMD justified the release of the R9 290X with 8 gigs. And then the funny part here is that 390 and 390X fly right in the face of that message that 4 gigs is enough. These are lower end cards that AMD is throwing 8 gigs of memory at.
Yeah.
So.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I mean, it's all going to come down to performance. And at the end of the day, if the Fury X crushes the 980 Ti, even in spite of its, 2 gigs less memory, I think a lot of people are going to run to it. And the fact that the form factor is so different is a really unique selling point for me. So I
really like it.
I'm excited to check it out. It turns out ours is in the mail and is scheduled for delivery today.
Oh, okay.
So
it hasn't shown up yet.
No, it hasn't. They sent it to my house because they're a bunch of people who don't ask where to ship things. And don't tell me that they shipped it.
Well, they don't usually ship us things.
They're like, I'm like, yeah, so I saw the review embargo date, so are you planning to send one at all? They're like, oh yeah, it's already in the mail. I'm like, well, don't you think maybe you should actually check with me before you mail things to me? Like, what if this was an alternate universe and I didn't have time? Like, what if I actually wasn't going to have a video up? It would already be in the mail. Like, don't you think you should check these things with people? Like, what if I broke my leg yesterday and I actually can't benchmark the Fury X, or some injury that would actually prevent me from benchmarking a graphics card?
We both broke our legs yesterday.
Yeah, and hands.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, so I'm hoping that they'll drop it, and my wife can get it in time. Otherwise, it'll show up Monday at my house, which is super dumb because that'll give us like 1 day basically to make a video about it, which is,
we've done it before.
I know, but it's not a good thing, and it's involved like copious amounts of overtime.
Yeah.
All right, so
moving on.
Yeah, moving
It'll happen.
on. This was a really cool article posted on the forum by Jaybird, and it's the features that Apple didn't tell you about iOS 9, and some of them are like really cool, and some of them are just like, holy cow, it took long enough. So you can pinch to zoom in and out on a video now. They give you detailed battery usage for the last 24 and last 72 hours. You can group notifications by app. You can disable shake to undo. Yay!
Yeah, that's good.
Touch ID protected passwords in Safari. There's some new stock apps, quick reply for all apps. You can turn off all vibrations.
Upper
Yeah, so
lowercase keyboard keys.
you guys should check that out. If you're an iPhone user,
What?
it's definitely worth checking out because there's always the stuff in the keynote, and then there's the actually like, oh wow, this is super useful. I wish they'd mentioned it stuff after the fact.
When I was using my iPhone, I immediately installed SwiftKey. iPhone didn't have uppercase and lowercase keyboards? What?
SwiftKey for iOS, the last time I used it was still kind of bad though.
It's bad, but I switched anyways because it knew my typing profile and stuff.
Right.
So I was like, sure, man. But it was, yeah, I did not like that. That was one of the things I really didn't like about the iPhone. As a keyboard.
I mean, last time around, that was one of the big things. It's like, thank you, you finally support third-party keyboards. Wish this had happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk input devices here. This is a thing. Third-party fancy pants controllers have been available for some time. Whether it's for the Xbox or PlayStation or PC or whatever. But I have not yet seen a first-party controller of this magnitude. So the Xbox One Elite controller was announced at E3. It features 4 interchangeable paddles around the back, hair trigger locks for precise control in shooters, remappable buttons, completely swappable components, including like you can change out the D-pad. The stainless steel paddles are removable, but when they're attached, they allow you to keep your fingers on the thumbsticks at all times. We've seen like janky modded ones in the past that are just like they replicate the functionality of other buttons, but full customization of thumbstick sensitivity and minimum min/max levels for the controller's top triggers. And these settings, along with button mapping, are handled through a standalone app that will be released for Xbox One and Windows 10. So with all this talk about Valve's new controller and with the third-party innovation that's happened and the fact that Microsoft, other than, you know, making the original Xbox controller actually holdable by real people with normal sized hands, and then streamlining the Xbox 360 controller, it seems like Microsoft has taken notice and is actually maybe gonna capture our attention with this Xbox One platform after all.
It's expensive as hell.
Yeah, it's $150. If all that sounded great until the price, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Your controller preferences are stored in the cloud. The gamepad itself can carry around 2 user profiles. Like, it actually looks kind of badass. But hey, we got to straw poll this.
Chet badass.
I'll create a straw poll.
Sure.
Interested in, and remember, guys, you don't have to be an Xbox gamer to buy this. It's going to be for the PC. The dongle's coming. The dongle's announced for the PC. The wireless dongle.
Controllers are super important, even for PC guys. If you want to play racing games, if you want to play a lot of just action games, I personally think Assassin's Creed plays better with a controller.
Yeah, I played Tomb Raider 2013 with a controller for sure. And speaking of racing games, Logitech did announce the G29 at E3. I haven't actually looked into it a ton, but I'm hoping to get our hands on a review unit of that. The problem is that they're releasing the I forget what they're calling it, but the PlayStation exclusive one first. So I'd kind of sent in a request for an engineering sample of the PC compatible and Xbox One, and I haven't heard back or anything yet. So look at these votes. Do you have this up?
No.
Interested in buying an Xbox Elite controller, 38% of you at $150. Here, I'll send you the link.
I'm not crazy surprised, but I'm a little surprised. I'm very happy that Turnip has at least 24%.
Yeah, vote for Turnip, you guys. Turnip is love and life and all that. Yeah. But 40% of you are interested in the Xbox Elite controller. This is a half and half mix. That is I mean, obviously this isn't, you know, a painstakingly crafted, you know, market research survey, but wow.
Aftermarket controllers are a thing. I don't know. I like really nice controllers.
I mean, before Bengate, one of Unbox Therapy's top viewed videos was some Xbox controller.
Yeah.
I forget which one it is. Xbox controller. I'll search for it. The Avenger Oh no, the Scuff controller?
Scuff, yeah, that makes sense.
No, Avenger Elite was. That's weird. No. N Control Avenger, 5.7 million views.
That's
Was a
insane.
aftermarket PlayStation 3 controller with like it looks like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
What else we got today? Oh, right. The other big thing that Microsoft announced, backwards compatibility for the Xbox
Yes.
One. Even
Yeah.
servers. Wow. Dropping bombs at E3. I mean, I think, Luke, you and I both agreed Nintendo won E3 last year, right?
Yeah, not this year. Last year, though.
This year, I mean, can you imagine this? Did Microsoft just win E3?
Wasn't there a ton of PlayStation game announcements?
I guess the PC, yeah, I guess it was just okay, but come on. I mean, Sony's downplaying this already because Sony has changed the architectural design of their consoles so dramatically from generation to generation, particularly with the Cell last gen,
Yeah.
that emulation is just impossible. Like early PlayStation 3s needed PS2 hardware in them, and the PlayStation 4 never had any kind of backwards compatibility whatsoever.
Yeah.
So Sony is obviously going to downplay this, but backwards compatibility is huge. I mean, you look at any other art form, and we're actively making efforts to preserve it.
Yeah.
And gaming, short of PC emulation, which is becoming less and less feasible over time, as alternative controller schemes. Like how are you going to play a Wii game unless you have a Wiimote? If it's an actually Wiimote optimized game,
Can you not hook a Wiimote up to a PC?
I think there's janky ways that you can like Faco do it, but it's never going to be mainstream. It's never going to be like like the way that people buy a poster.
That's
of
just
the
Wii,
Mona
though.
Lisa.
Like, eventually emulating Xbox One and PlayStation 4 shouldn't be that hard.
PS3. Um,
Not
I mean,
three.
I don't want to use the N word, but like that may never happen. Um, and so for hardware, particularly
I feel
hardware
like
with
someone will get it.
someone will figure out something, but I doubt it'll
Yeah.
ever be perfect. In
Right.
much the same way that even Nintendo 64 emulation is still not perfect.
It's just a
So,
little sketchy. There's some dips and ups and too much. It doesn't really
yeah,
run right. Yeah.
some games that don't work right. So
Yeah.
particularly if the device that runs your art form, I mean, if we treat games like art, has an optical drive in it, it will die. So
Hmm.
unless all of these guys have like a warehouse of pristine condition consoles or have plans to open source the hardware at some point so people can continue to enjoy this content for like let's not even think years, let's think decades, or let's think
Yeah.
centuries from now. It's not like we don't appreciate art from the Middle Ages. How are we going to preserve PlayStation 1 gaming for our children's children? I don't know. It's an interesting question. Because you look at what's happened to a lot of the old consoles, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Or you're doing like what I'm doing, which is just hoard old consoles and old games.
And even that's going to be limited to guys who have like in the case of cartridges, you're limited in some cases to guys who have the skills to like solder new
And
batteries into
repair
these
them.
stupid
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, they barely work, and that's a lot better than an optical drive.
Yeah. I
And
have a
there's
number of NES games that you can't. The like internal batteries or whatnot are dead, and
Mhm.
or even SNES games, and just
Exactly.
yeah.
And the PC is much, much better at this, thanks
Oh
to
yeah.
the boat anchor that holds us back in a lot of ways, that is x86. But these completely closed garden consoles are just gonna fade into obscurity. I don't know. I worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do we have any more topics?
I think that was everything I really wanted to get through.
Oh yeah, I've got it. This is just kind of a fun one. So I really hope I don't offend any of you.
Uh-oh.
But this is like the world's saddest thing ever. RealDoll is a company making silicone sex dolls, and they are upgrading them in a significant manner. And I don't mean upgrading your
Can
sex
you get
doll.
IoT now? Can you
I'm
like
sorry.
chat with them remotely?
So they are making AI heads for their existing silicone sex doll object things that will kind of act like they like what you're doing, with plans to release them. So they're planning to have those available by 2017, with plans to release full body animated sex bots in the future that will cost up to $77,000. Now, what I can say is that's nothing compared to a real woman, but come on. Really? The article here is from new.com Australia, and the funny thing about anything sex related is there's always going to be like a sexpert, you know, that they contact for comment on an article like this. And the thing about sexperts is that, with very few exceptions, a lot of this is pseudoscientific nonsense. So you could find a sexpert to agree with you on anything. Doesn't matter. So they probably went out and contacted a half a dozen sexperts and just found one that thought this was a good idea and one that thought it was a bad idea. And the one that thought it was a good idea was just like, oh, well, yeah, you know, for some people, interacting with other people is, you know, whether they're like busy at work is not as good as having a silicone doll. And like, and I'm like, really? Like, really? Maybe I'm gonna be like one of those like weird people.
Maybe you're the caveman. Whoa!
Yeah.
I don't think I can scroll down anymore.
Maybe I'm the caveman. So I want to hear from you guys. Straw poll.
Straw poll it, yeah.
Sex doll. Yes. To augment RL relationship. Yes. To replace. No. And everyone's favorite, turnip. And this is just general
I'd probably vote turnip, as in, like, I don't care at all. Do whatever you want, bro.
Well, yeah, okay, that's another thing. I'm not saying they should be illegal or anything. Just to be clear. When I say yuck, I mean me personally yuck. I don't mean that you can't do whatever you want. But I also think that if you were like my bro, and we were to sit down and have a heart-to-heart, you know, like, let's talk about whether this is a good idea, you know, for your well-being. I'd be like, I don't think this is a good idea. I think that having real contact with real people is important, even if we do it digitally. Like, I think something like Skype to you is better than just talking to an AI. And in much the same way that having a relationship with a person is just, even if it's just like practice.
Skyping might even be... Skyping to a real person might not even be as constructive emotionally as talking to an AI in person, depending on how developed the AI is.
It's a good point. Okay, so let's
Post it.
Did I not post it?
I don't think so.
I thought I did.
You might have. I might have just missed it.
People are voting. Yeah,
okay.
I'll send it to you.
Cool.
And I mean, here's the thing too, though, is what we're talking about right now is year 2017 AI. I don't think anyone should spend $77,000 on that AI
right.
in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be trash, but it's like the early adopter idea, probably. I would assume it must be, because it's going to be super bad. Like, look at even like hugely commercialized solutions, where it's not like a very, very narrow market. Any form of AI or like voice control, even voice detection, is just garbage. Yep. So like, what do you expect from it? It's not going to be great.
All right, so 42% of you are on the turnip bandwagon, with 32% of you saying no, 17% of you saying yes to augment a real-life relationship. And let's face it, there's lots of people out there that have sex dolls. Like, it's a thing. It exists. And I mean, it's one of those things where I guess, you know, as long as you're sort of honest with each other and as long as everyone's like cool, then that's great. And then we've got 10% of you saying yes, you know, I'm too busy, or it's not my thing. I'm not a people person. Yes, that is an acceptable substitute for me. Very interesting. Well, there you go. It's always nice to hear from you guys, because you can open my eyes a lot of the time. I mean, I'm the one hosting the show and Luke's hosting the show, but a lot of the times it's you guys sort of telling us like what's actually going on out there, because we're only two people.
I'm pretty excited that we're talking about sex dolls in front of 6,533 people.
I'm pretty excited that those people might get to watch me and a sex doll in the after party. Actually, no, that's not happening.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, thank you all very
Most
much
tuned
for
in
tuning
after
in.
party ever.
Yeah, I'm actually probably not doing an after party because I think like there's someone pacing outside this conference room. I think I told them I was going to be done at 6, and it is now 6:05.
Ah.
So I think that's pretty much it for the show today, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye. I will not be streaming. The internet at my place is just dumb and doesn't let me stream for whatever reason. So once we finally get the new office going and that super badass, apparently delayed internet connection, I'll start my personal stream up then again for people that are wondering.
Are you going to be streaming from the office?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I told you that before.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. You actually, I had already decided that I wanted to do it, and then you suggested it.
This is why my life is so exciting. I get to learn new things, even when they're not new.
Okay, let me roll the outro.
All right.
Ah! No. Oh, the outro's failed.
Okay.
Oh, now the computer's freezing. Squarespace! Oh, it's because directories have changed. That makes sense. Squarespace is awesome. Yay. FreshBooks is also awesome. FreshBooks! And Lynda.com. Okay, bye.